Once divorced, my husband cruelly ousted me with not 1 cent. I tried to activate the aged card my father had bequeathed, but the teller went white and yelled, "Madam, you must immediately see this." I was utterly stunned when I finally learned that my husband didn't just kick me out and give everything we built to his mistress. He left me with absolutely nothing. But the universe, or maybe my father, had a shocking twist in store, because that worn-out, forgotten debit card I thought was completely empty, it ended up making a powerful bank manager visibly tremble with fear. That thick, humid Atlanta summer heat hit me like a slap the moment I stepped out of the Uber. I just spent 2 grueling weeks deep in rural Alabama, taking care of my critically ill mother. My mind was buzzing, a mix of relief that mom was stable and pure exhaustion. All I wanted was the comfort of my luxury penthouse and, of course, my husband, Kwesi. I remember dragging my small suitcase through the lobby of the Sovereign, one of Buckhead's most prestigious buildings, a smile finally spreading across my face as the elevator chimed on the 30th floor. I was tired, yes, but overwhelmingly happy to be home. The hallway was cool, quiet. I reached the door to our penthouse, 3A, and fumbled for my key fob. I tapped it against the digital reader. Beep beep. A sharp red light flashed. Access denied. My brow furrowed. I tried again. Beep beep. That's strange, I mumbled to myself. Maybe the card got demagnetized. I rang the doorbell twice. Silence. Then I heard footsteps inside, followed by the soft click of the lock. The heavy door swung open. And there he stood. Kwesi. My husband. But it wasn't my Kwesi. His eyes were utterly cold. He was wearing a silk robe, and there, on his neck, was a fresh, bright red lipstick mark. You're back already, he said, and believe me, it was anything but a welcoming greeting. My heart seemed to just stop. Kwesi, I stammered, my voice already trembling. Why isn't my key working? His reply was blunt. Because I changed the locks. He just stood there, blocking the entrance. Then, from inside, a woman's crystal-clear laughter rang out. Babe, who is it? If it's a solicitor, tell them to kick rocks. A young, stunning woman, much younger than me, appeared over Kwesi's shoulder. My stomach dropped. I recognized her instantly, Anea, a local Instagram model who was, let's just say, gaining clout. And she was wearing my silk robe, the very same one I'd bought myself for our wedding anniversary just last year. Anea's eyes swept over me, from my simple travel clothes to my tired face and worn-out suitcase. She was judging me. Oh, she said with a mocking smirk, it's not a solicitor. Turns out it's the ex-wife. Ex-wife? Kwesi, what is this? I whispered, a stinging burn rising in my eyes. Who is she? Why is she in our house? Why is she wearing my clothes? Kwesi just sighed, as if I was some trivial nuisance. Listen, Zelika, this is over. Better we talk downstairs. Don't make a scene here. He didn't even give me a chance to step inside. He just walked out, closing the door behind him. Anea stood inside, that smug smile still plastered on her face. We rode down in the elevator in complete silence. I was petrified. My brain just couldn't process what had just happened. All I could smell was Anea's expensive, cloying perfume, faintly clinging to Kwesi's robe. It made my stomach churn. The elevator doors opened into the busy lobby rush hour. People stared. Kwesi practically ran to a secluded corner near a giant window overlooking Peachtree Road. I just followed him, like a robot. Kwesi, I managed, my voice barely a whisper, explain this to me. His voice was ice. What is there to explain? Isn't it clear? You and I are done. Finished. Just like that? After 10 years? After I nursed his mother back to health after her stroke last year? After we built everything together, from the ground up? He let out a cynical laugh. Built with me from ground zero? Don't be ridiculous, Zelika. I'm successful because of my hard work. You're just a burden. Especially after you spent so much time taking care of your mama in that country town, you forgot your duties as a wife. My duties? My jaw dropped. Yes, look at you. He pointed at me with pure disgust. Disheveled, unkempt. I'm a major developer. I need a partner on my level, not a housewife like you. The man in front of me was a complete stranger. Anea, so it's been going on this whole time? Yeah, we've been together a year, Kwesi said, not a shred of guilt in his voice. And she understands me much better. Suddenly, a security guard approached, pushing a small, tattered duffel bag. It was the same bag I'd used when Kwesi and I first moved to Atlanta years ago. Kwesi snatched it and threw it at my feet. The meager contents spilled out, a few old clothes, my wallet. Those are your things. The rest I threw out. Then he tossed a brown envelope onto the pile. These are the divorce papers. I've already signed them. Inside is a settlement. All the assets, this penthouse, the cars, the company, everything is in my name. You came into this marriage with nothing. You leave with nothing. That's when the tears finally came. This wasn't just humiliation. It was annihilation. You can't do this. I choked out. Oh, I can. And I already have. His eyes were as cold as ice. Sign those papers. If you behave and don't claim marital assets, maybe I'll be generous and give you cash for a Greyhound bus ticket back to your little town in Alabama. People in the lobby started to whisper. I felt exposed, naked. Get out, Kwesi hissed. But this is my home too. I cried. Not anymore, he roared. Security. 2 guards approached. They looked uncomfortable, but their allegiance was clearly with Kwesi. I'm sorry, ma'am. Please don't make a scene, one of them said, gently grabbing my arm. I was dragged out. I looked back, desperately, Kwesi, please. He just stared blankly, then turned and walked toward the elevator. Above, near the mezzanine, Anaya's silhouette watched, basking in her victory. The heavy glass doors of the lobby hissed shut behind me, separating me from 10 years of my life. I was out on the busy sidewalk, under a darkening Atlanta sky, with nothing but a duffel bag of old clothes and divorce papers that mocked my existence. Night fell fast in Atlanta. Streetlights flickered on, but my world was utterly dark. I walked aimlessly, the honking horns of Peachtree traffic roaring in my ears. I had nowhere to go. Mom was still recovering. I couldn't burden her with this. My feet just carried me to Centennial Olympic Park. I found an empty bench and sat, staring at the glittering skyline. My stomach growled. I hadn't eaten since morning. All around me, restaurant patios were coming alive, the aromas of barbecue ribs and fried catfish twisting the knife in my gut. People laughed. Young black couples walked hand in hand. I felt like a ghost, invisible, non-existent. I opened the wallet Kwesi had thrown at me. $10. Not even enough for a cheap motel. I pulled out my phone. 5% battery. I frantically opened the banking app for our joint account. Balance, 0. Kwesi had cleaned me out, every dollar we had, including my savings from before we married. A cold, heavy despair wrapped around me. This was it. I was truly at rock bottom. Homeless. Tonight. Tears streamed down my face, silent and endless. My eyes fell on the wallet again. Behind a card slot, a faded photo, my father. Tendio. A simple tobacco farmer and merchant who passed away 10 years ago, right before I married Kwesi. And behind that photo, something else. My trembling fingers pulled it out. A faded blue debit card, peeling at the edges. The logo was barely legible. Heritage Trust of the South. I was stunned. I remembered it now. My father had given it to me when I was 17, moving out for college. Keep this, my baby girl, he'd said, his voice soft but firm. This is an account Papa created for you. Never use it unless it is absolutely necessary. Don't mix it with money for your expenses. Imagine it doesn't exist. How much is in it, Papa? I'd asked. He just smiled mysteriously. Enough to be an anchor. If you ever feel like your ship is going to sink, use this. But as long as you can sail, don't touch this anchor. I never used it. I forgot about it, busy with college, then meeting Kwesi, building his empire. I always assumed it held a few $100s, maybe some leftover allowance. But tonight, my ship wasn't just going to sink. My ship was already blown to pieces. I clutched that card. The $10 in my wallet was useless. But maybe, just maybe, whatever was left in my father's account could buy me a bus ticket back to Alabama. A tiny spark of hope, as thin as a thread, flickered to life in my chest. I didn't sleep a wink that night. I huddled under the awning of a closed shop, clutching my duffel bag like a lifeline, just waiting for the sun to rise. I was dirty, hungry, and terrified, but that faded card felt strangely warm in my hand. By 8 a.m., I was already standing in front of the Heritage Trust of the South Branch, tucked away on a downtown Atlanta side street. It was exactly as I remembered from childhood visits, an old stone building, anchored in the past, a stark contrast to the gleaming glass towers where Kwesi banked. Inside, it was quiet. Just 2 tellers, a customer service desk. The air smelled of old paper and dust. I took a number. I was the only customer. Soon, a young man named Kofi, in a crisp white shirt, called me over. He was polite, though his eyes showed a hint of confusion at my disheveled appearance. Good morning, ma'am. How can I help you? Good morning, I managed, my voice raspy. I want to check the balance on this card, but it's very old, and I've forgotten the PIN. I handed him the faded blue card. Kofi took it, frowning. Wow, ma'am. This card is ancient. This is our old logo. Can it still be used? I asked, my anxiety spiking. I'll check, ma'am. He took my ID, matching the name, Zelika Okafor. He started typing. The system seemed agonizingly slow. Kofi typed, clicked, then frowned again. Huh, that's strange, he murmured. What's wrong? My heart started to pound. The data isn't coming up directly. Our legacy system is sometimes a little slow. It seems this account is dormant. How long has it been since there were any transactions? I asked hesitantly. Maybe 10 years? Kofi's eyes went wide. 10 years. One moment, ma'am. I'm going to try accessing the manual server. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Green code flickered across his screen, indecipherable to me. Silence hung heavy, broken only by the keyboard clicks and the hum of the AC. I bit my lip. It's over, I thought. It must be closed. The money's gone. Kofi scratched his head. How odd. The balance isn't reading, ma'am. But there's a sort of flag. A high-level alert on this account. Alert? Does that mean I have debt? I panicked. No, not debt. I've just never seen a code like this. One moment, ma'am. He typed a series of commands. The computer seemed to think, then something appeared on Kofi's screen. Kofi's relaxed face suddenly changed. He went utterly pale. His eyes opened wide, glued to the monitor, filled with something I couldn't quite place. Mr. Kofi? I called out. He didn't answer. He was frozen. He reread the screen, his mouth slightly open. Kofi swallowed hard. Then, abruptly, he stood up, so fast his chair flew backward with a loud screech. Mr. Zubari. MR, director, he shrieked, shattering the bank's silence. He didn't care about me anymore. His eyes were still glued to that horrifying screen. Mr. Zubari, the branch manager, a stern-looking, middle-aged black man, stepped out of his office. What is it, Kofi? Don't shout like that. We have customers, he scolded, his tone flat. I'm sorry, sir, but you have to see this. Kofi pointed a trembling hand at the screen. Account in the name of Zelika Okafor, inheritance from her father, Tendio. Mr. Zubari sighed, annoyed, and walked toward Kofi's desk, ready to lecture. He glanced at the screen. And then he froze. His professional, rigid face crumbled in an instant. His expression morphed from annoyance to confusion, then to a deathly pallor. He looked at the screen, then at me, then back at the screen. Ma'am, Mrs. Zelika Okafor? He asked, his voice, previously firm, now trembling. Yes, sir, I whispered, scared. What's wrong? Was my father a criminal? Kofi. Mr. Zubari snapped, regaining his composure. Close your window. Quickly. Put up the close sign. Take Mrs. Zelika to my office right now. Don't let anyone see the screen. The urgency and panic in his voice made me jump. Kofi, stuttering, immediately flipped the close sign and turned off his monitor. Come with me, ma'am, he said, now treating me with immense respect, almost fear. In Mr. Zubari's cramped office, the door was instantly locked. He paced for a moment, then sat, his hands shaking slightly as he turned on his desk computer. Excuse me, ma'am. You caught us by surprise, he said. Actually, what is happening, sir? Did my father leave a huge debt? My voice was on the verge of breaking. Debt? Mr. Zubari let out a nervous chuckle. No, ma'am. Far from it. He turned his monitor toward me. Kofi, standing silently, pointed at the screen, holding his breath. Ma'am, look at this. Quickly. The screen didn't show a dollar balance. It showed an ownership structure diagram. Ma'am, Mr. Zubari said, his voice low with astonishment, this isn't a normal savings account. This is a master account connected to a limited liability company. A corporation. A corporation? I frowned. LLC. Correct. Called Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. This company was founded by your father, Tendai Okafor, in 1998 and was left inactive, exactly 20 years ago. But my father was just a tobacco salesman, I said, bewildered. That, Mr. Zubari interrupted, is what he wanted people to know. Ma'am, your father seems he wasn't just a salesman. He was a land broker. A genius one at that. He clicked a tab, list of assets, Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Mr. Zubari continued, it is the legal owner of 2,000 acres of pecan groves and farmland in South Georgia, all under this deed. The sole ownership was transferred completely to you as the heir, with a special clause. What clause? I whispered. This company activates automatically, and all its assets become accessible to the heir only if the heir accesses this master account in a desperate situation, or if the balance of their personal account is 0. My jaw dropped. My father had predicted this. I looked at the row of numbers on the screen. They weren't savings figures. They were acreage. I didn't faint. I didn't scream. I just sat up straight. The hunger, the exhaustion, the utter humiliation I'd felt for the last 24 hours, it evaporated, replaced by something else. Something cold, sharp, and incredibly strong. Kwesi's mocking face flashed in my mind. Aeneas' triumphant smirk. Mr. Zubari, I said, my voice calm, cold, surprising even myself. How do I activate this company right now? He looked at me with concern. My reaction was clearly not what he expected. No tears of joy. No screaming. My eyes, swollen from crying just hours before, were now hardened. I stared at the screen with terrifying focus. Mr. Zubari, I repeated, my voice steady. What do I need? He stuttered. Technically, it's already active, ma'am. The moment you access this account with a null personal balance, the clause was fulfilled. Our legal team, who manage the trust, they're already waiting for your instructions. Kofi, who was still standing by, quickly poured a glass of water and placed it in front of me. I didn't drink it. My father, Tendio, I asked. What else do you know about him? Mr. Zubari opened a drawer and pulled out a thick, dusty folder. Your father was a priority client long before private banking even existed. He left this, a letter and legal documents. He said, this can only be opened by my daughter, or by us if she has accessed the account. He handed me a yellowed envelope. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside, a sheet of paper, neatly handwritten. To my baby girl, Zelika, if you are reading this, it means there are 2 possibilities. First, Papa is no longer here, and you are ready to start your own life. Second, life hasn't gone according to your plans. Papa was a salesman. It's true. But Papa also knew that this world isn't always fair to good black women like you. I saw how they treated your mother. Papa kept a small anchor for you. Not to spoil you, but to ensure you have options when you feel cornered. Papa designed the desperate clause on purpose. I know you're smart, but your heart is too soft. I was afraid, if you had wealth, you would attract the wrong man. And if you didn't have wealth, you would be oppressed by the wrong man. Papa failed in one thing. I hope you never need to read this letter. But if you do, remember Papa's message. Don't cry. Don't get revenge with tears. Build your own kingdom, my child. Make them regret it. The anchor has been dropped. Now sail, baby girl. Papa. The tears I'd been holding back finally fell. But they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of profound understanding. My father, the simple salesman, had seen the future. He'd seen Kwesi decades before Kwesi even existed. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand and looked at Mr. Zubari. I need 3 things, I stated. What things, ma'am? First, cash. I don't have a dime. Of course. Kofi, prepare a cash withdrawal from the operating account, Mr. Zubari instructed. Second, I continued, I need a place to stay temporarily, a secure hotel, far from the sovereign apartments. That can be arranged. We have corporate rates with several secure hotels. Third, and this is the most important, I leaned forward. I need all the financial data of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. And I need a recommendation for the best business restructuring consultant. Someone not from around here. Someone from the Midtown Financial District. Someone who doesn't know Kwesi. Mr. Zubari was momentarily stunned, clearly impressed by the composure of the woman who, 30 minutes ago, had looked like she belonged on the street. I know a name, he said. They call him the cleaner. Very expensive. Very cold. His name is Seek. Good, I said. Give me the money, book me the hotel, and organize my meeting with Seek. But I didn't stay at the hotel Mr. Zubari booked. That was my first step, not being predictable. After withdrawing a considerable amount of cash, enough to make me dizzy if it had been yesterday, I bought a new phone, a new number, and several sets of simple but clean clothes at a nearby mall. Then I booked a room at the St. Regis, one of Atlanta's most luxurious hotels, under a fake name. For 24 hours, I locked myself in that room. I ordered room service, ate my first decent meal in days, took a long, hot bath, and finally, I slept. I let my brain process the utter destruction and incredible rebirth of my life, all in a single day. The next morning, I didn't call Seek. I knew someone like him wouldn't be impressed by a phone call. I went directly to the financial district in Midtown. Seek's office was in one of those cold, minimalist skyscrapers, all glass and steel. I, in my new simple but neat clothes, was a stark contrast to the setting. I want to see Mr. Siku, I told the receptionist. I don't have an appointment. Mr. Sika is busy, ma'am. His schedule is full for the next 2 months. Tell him, I said calmly, Zelika Okafor, owner of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Assets of 2,000 acres. This is urgent. The receptionist hesitated, but the words 2,000 acres made her pick up the phone. 5 minutes later, I was ushered into a corner office with a panoramic view of Atlanta. Seek was a black man in his mid-30s. He didn't smile. He wore a dress shirt without a tie, yet he looked more formal than Kwesi ever did in his designer suits. His eyes were sharp, analyzing me. I only have 10 minutes, Mrs. Okafor, Seek said, his voice deep and flat. Okafor Legacy Holdings. Dormant company. Agricultural assets. What's the problem? I sat down without being invited. The problem, Mr. Siku, I stated, is that this company just woke up. The assets are large, but I don't know anything about pecans, peaches, or how to run it. And I have another problem that must be solved. What problem? My ex-husband. A developer here in Atlanta. His name is Kwesi. He demands a share. He doesn't know about this. Seek raised an eyebrow. This is interesting. What do you want from me? I want you to restructure this company from the ground up. Audit everything. Make it an active, modern, profitable company. And I want you to be my personal advisor. I looked him directly in the eye. I want to know how to use this power. Seek stared at me for a long moment. I am expensive, ma'am. I know, I replied. I don't deal with personal dramas. I'm not asking you to deal with drama, I corrected him. I'm asking you to teach me how to win a business war. The drama is a bonus. Seek smiled. His first smile. A thin, almost imperceptible curve of his lips. When do we start? Yesterday, I said. 2 weeks. That's all it took. 2 weeks where Atlanta had no idea what was happening behind closed doors. Seek and his small, dedicated team and I worked 20-hour days. We dissected Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. It turned out the assets were even greater than estimated. My father hadn't just bought land. He'd quietly acquired shares in various agri-food companies whose value had now skyrocketed. I learned fast. I devoured financial reports, studied property laws, absorbed every single detail of agribusiness management. Seek watched me. This client, he must have thought, was different. No panic. No greed. Just pure, unwavering focus. I was like a dry sponge, soaking it all up. During those 2 weeks, I also transformed. I chopped off my long, dull hair, replacing it with a short, firm, elegant bob. With a personal shopper hired by Seek, I threw out all my old clothes. My closet was now filled with tailored suits, silk blouses, and simple, classy dresses in power colors, black, navy blue, burgundy. Reading glasses replaced my contacts. High heels replaced sandals. But the biggest change? It was in my eyes. The fear was gone. Replaced by pure, cold calculation. Are you ready to get back in the ring, ma'am? Seek asked me one afternoon. I'm ready, I said. We didn't go for a hotel. Under my orders, Seek's team had worked discreetly. They bought an old mansion in Cascade Heights. Not some flashy new McMansion like Kwesi favored, but a historic, solid, elegant building that just exuded old black power and generational wealth. It was paid for in cash. When I walked into that mansion, I wasn't the Zelika who had been kicked out of an apartment lobby. I was Miss Zelika Okafor, CEO of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Meanwhile, back at the sovereign penthouse, Kwesi and Anaya's life was at its peak. This project, babe, Kwesi exclaimed one night, pouring champagne for Anaya. This is going to change the game. After throwing me out, Kwesi felt invincible. His construction business was frantically looking for new projects. I have inside info, his eyes glinted with greed. There's prime land, thousands of acres down in South Georgia, coming onto the market. They say it's going to be opened up for a luxury development. I have to get that construction contract. Anaya, busy taking selfies with her champagne glass, was barely listening. Oh yeah, great. That means our wedding can be in Turks and Caicos, right? And I want that new Birkin bag, the crocodile skin one. Sure, whatever, for you, Kwesi said, but deep down, he was anxious. This was a huge project. He needed massive capital. Investors. His company, honestly, was loaded with debts to finance their lavish lifestyle. I'll organize meetings with all possible investors, he murmured. A few days later, Kwesi started hearing whispers in Atlanta's business circles. Did you hear? An acquaintance asked him. There's a new player in town, investing like crazy. Bought a mansion in Cascade. Paid cash. Hired that consultant from Midtown, Seek, the cleaner. What's the name? Old-fashioned name. Kwesi shook his head. Okafor Legacy Holdings, LLC. Ring a bell. Old-fashioned name, Kwesi repeated. Probably some old money folks just realizing their assets. This is my opportunity. He immediately ordered his secretary to contact Okafor Legacy Holdings. He had to present his proposal for the South Georgia development. He had no idea that the lands he coveted were the very ones listed in my deed. The invitation arrived. Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC was interested. The meeting would be held at the CEO's residence in the Cascade Mansion. Kwesi felt on top of the world. Look, Anea, they invited me. Surely, they've heard of my reputation. That morning, he put on his most expensive suit. He rehearsed his presentation in front of the mirror. He was going to dazzle this mysterious investor. He arrived at the mansion. The wrought iron gate swung open slowly. He walked into a majestic, yet cool foyer. Marble walls, antique furniture. An assistant with a formal look greeted him. Good afternoon, Mr. Kwesi. Please wait in the meeting room. Our CEO will join you shortly. Kwesi was led to a grand library, transformed into a meeting room. A long mahogany table stretched across one side. On the other, tall windows overlooked a manicured garden. At the end of the table sat a man, staring at a laptop. Seek. Kwesi thought he was the boss. Good afternoon, sir. Seek looked up, his eyes cold. I am Siku Consultant. Sit down, Mr. Kwesi. Our CEO is on the way. Kwesi sat, a knot of nervousness forming in his gut. The atmosphere was too heavy, too silent. 5 minutes passed like an hour. Suddenly, the double doors behind Kwesi opened. He didn't turn. He heard footsteps. High heels. Click, clack, clack. A firm, rhythmic sound on the marble floor. Sorry for the wait. A voice. Familiar. Impossible. Kwesi froze. He knew that voice, but this voice was cold, authoritative. He slowly turned his chair. The footsteps stopped at the other end of the table. There I stood, my hair perfectly styled. A navy blue power dress wrapped around my body, perfectly tailored. Reading glasses rested on my nose. My face subtly, professionally made up. I looked at Kwesi. No hatred in my eyes. No love. Nothing. Just the look of a superior at a subordinate. Kwesi's mouth opened, but no sound came out. I sat calmly in the head chair. Seek stood beside me, handing me a tablet. I looked at Kwesi, then I smiled. The smile didn't reach my eyes. Good afternoon, Mr. Kwesi, I said, my clear voice filling the room. I am Zelika Okafor, CEO of Okafor Legacy Holdings, LLC. I leaned in slightly. Please, begin your presentation. I heard you are very interested in the lands in South Georgia. I paused, letting my words sink in. Then, casually, in a relaxed tone, I added, coincidentally, all the land you covet for your ambitious project belongs to me. Silence. The silence in that meeting room was so thick, Kwesi could hear his own heart pounding in his ears. A joke? This had to be a joke. But my eyes, the eyes that used to look at him with adoration, were now as cold as the marble beneath his feet. Zelika, he managed, his voice cracking. This is impossible. 2,000 acres. Okafor Legacy, where did you get the money? I leaned back, not bothering to answer his panicked question about the money. Instead, I turned to Seek. Mr. Siku, what do you think of the initial proposal from Kwesi Constructions Incorporated? Seek, silent until now, spoke. His voice was flat, lethal. Conceptually ambitious, Mr. Kwesi, but financially very weak. Your proposal lacks adequate risk analysis, and your profit projections are far too optimistic. Kwesi looked like he'd been doused with ice water. He came here to dazzle some foolish investor. Instead, he was being audited. Wait, he said, trying to regain control. His arrogance began to creep back. I know. Zelika must just be a puppet. This man, Siko, he's the one in control. Zelika just got lucky. Zel, he tried, using the soft, cajoling tone he once used to melt me. I don't know what happened to you, but this is big business. Maybe we can collaborate. I mean, you know me. I'm the best builder in Atlanta. I gave a slight smile. Oh, I know you very well, Kwesi. Then I stood. I don't have more time, but I will give you a chance. Hope sparked in his eyes. My team, I looked at Seek, will conduct a full due diligence, a complete, deep dive into your company. We need to see your accounting, your list of assets, and your list of debts. We will not invest a single dollar in a company that is not transparent. Kwesi hesitated. Opening his books? That would be a disaster. His company wasn't as healthy as he bragged. Why does it have to be so complicated? He whined. It's me, Zell, your ex-husband. Precisely for that reason, Mr. Kwesi, Seek interjected, his voice cutting like a knife. We must be professional. Take it or leave it. If you reject the audit, we will consider your proposal void and offer our land to another developer. I hear your competition from BEQUEATHED is very interested. That was a direct threat. Kwesi was cornered. If he withdrew, he lost the biggest project of his life. If he moved forward, he had to expose all his wounds. Fine, Kwesi forced out. Fine. Audit. I'm not hiding anything. I simply nodded. Mr. Sika's team will contact you. Good afternoon. Kwesi was escorted out of the mansion. He got into his car, his knees shaking. He didn't know if he'd just escaped danger or walked straight into a trap. What he did know was that the Zelika he'd just met absolutely terrified him. Kwesi returned to the sovereign apartment in a mess. Babe, Anea greeted, jumping off the sofa, wearing new silk lingerie. How did it go? Are we rich yet? When can we start planning the wedding in Turks? Shut up for a second, Anea. I'm thinking. Kwesi shouted, throwing his jacket onto the floor. Anea was surprised. Hey, why are you yelling at me? Kwesi paced. The investor is complicated. It's really messed up. Complicated? Did they say no? Anea's tones started to get anxious. No, not yet. But my God, you're not going to believe this. Kwesi pulled at his hair. The investor, the CEO, is Zelika. Anea froze. What? Zelika? The homeless woman. She's not homeless anymore. Kwesi growled. She's different. She has a mansion in Cascade. She has a financial consultant. She owns the land. Anea's beautiful face went pale. This was the worst-case scenario. Not because she loved Kwesi, but because her status, her luxuries, her entire future depended on Kwesi's wallet. And now that wallet was threatened by the woman she despised most. Surely it's a bluff. Anea shrieked. She can't be that smart. Surely she hooked up with some old rich man. Yes, that's it. She's a kept woman. Kwesi wasn't listening. She wants to audit my company. What am I going to do? Anea's panic morphed into cold fury. That woman. Who does she think she is, coming back and ruining everything? I'll handle her, she hissed. Handle what? Don't get involved. But Anea already had a plan. She knew where Atlanta's new black elite gathered. She would find me. And she would humiliate me in public, remind me who I really was. A few days later, Anea, through a friend, discovered my location, a luxury boutique cafe in Buckhead. She arrived in full force, designer clothes, flashy bag, heavy makeup. She spotted me sitting alone in a corner, reading documents on a tablet, sipping tea. Anea slammed her hand directly on my table, making a loud noise on purpose. Well. Look who's here, she announced, her voice projected for everyone to hear. Mrs. Zelika Okafor, right? Moving fast, huh? Climbing classes from being thrown out in the lobby to sitting in an expensive cafe. I looked up slowly. I looked at Anea. Then I went back to my tablet. I said nothing. That indifference enraged her even more. Hey, I'm talking to you here. Don't play deaf. Who do you think you are, huh? You're bothering Kwesi. Stay away from him. He is mine now. I sighed. I put down my tablet. Yours? I asked, my voice calm. Things that are owned are usually objects. Miss Anea isn't human. Don't give me lessons. I know your game. You came back to steal Kwesi from me again, right? Because he's successful. I let out a soft, cold chuckle. Steal Kwesi, Miss Anea? Why would I bother picking up the trash I already threw out? Anea's face went scarlet. I stood up, now at eye level with her. Listen well, I whispered, but the intensity in my voice made Anea take a step back. I'm not interested in Kwesi. I'm interested in his company. And if you want to know, I glanced at the flashy bag Anea was holding. Kwesi came to me, begging me to finance his project. He isn't even capable of paying for your lifestyle without begging me. Liar. Ah, yes. I pulled out a black credit card, a Centurion card made of metal, from my wallet. Today, I feel generous. I called the waiter. The check, please. And also for this lady, I'm paying. I looked at Anea. Consider it charity. You need it more than I do. I picked up my tablet and walked out, leaving Anea frozen in shame, a spectacle for the entire cafe. The bait had worked. Kwesi, reeling from my confrontation, had no choice but to hand over all his financial documents to Seek's team. Meanwhile, I'd humiliated Anea. Now, it was time to move. Seek's team gathered in the war room of my Cascade mansion. "This isn't a company, Miss Zelika," Seek said, pointing at a large screen displaying the cash flow of Kwesi Constructions Incorporated. "This is a house of cards built on air." "Explain," I commanded. First, Seek began, materials. He charges clients for grade A cement, but reports show he buys grade C. He pockets a 40% profit just from material embezzlement. This is illegal. And dangerous. My stomach turned. I remembered a small bridge project Kwesi had bragged about. Second, Seek continued, debts. He doesn't have big bank debts, he's too smart for that. But he racks up debt with small suppliers, sand pits, local hardware stores, equipment rental companies. He delays their payments for months, even years, knowing they don't have the legal strength to fight him. A list of supplier names flashed on the screen. I recognized some. And third, Seek concluded, taxes. He keeps 2 books. One for himself. One for the IRS. His tax evasion is massive. I sat in silence. The man I had been married to for 10 years. The man I had cared for when he was sick. He was a scammer. An extortionist. A thief. Good, I said, my voice steady. Seek looked at me. Good? Yes. This gives us a weapon. What's the next step? I asked. Kwesi is only focused on us, on those 2,000 acres, Seek explained. He doesn't realize that his debt to the small suppliers is his weakest point. I want you, Zelika, he paused, a strategic glint in his eye, to buy all that debt. Seek smiled. I assume so. I've prepared 3 shell companies in Delaware. We will buy every outstanding invoice from those suppliers. We will pay cash. The suppliers will be very happy, I said. And Kwesi, Seek added, will know nothing. He'll only feel relieved because the collectors will stop calling him. He'll think we're about to give him capital. How much time? I asked. Give me a week. In a week, Kwesi Constructions Incorporated will no longer owe anything to the small merchants. Seek's eyes met mine. He will owe me. Exactly as Seek predicted. Kwesi suddenly felt his life getting easier. The calls from angry suppliers stopped. He took it as a good sign, thinking the news of his collaboration with Okafor Legacy Holdings had scared them off. He was very wrong. Feeling the pressure ease, Kwesi decided it was time for the final move. He had to secure me. Not on a business level, but personally. He still believed the old Zelika, weak, forgiving, still in love with him, was buried somewhere inside. He sent a bouquet of white roses, my old favorites, to the Cascade mansion with a note. I know I was wrong. Let's talk like old times. Dinner at our usual spot. I almost threw those flowers in the trash, but Seek stopped me. Go, he said. Let him dig his own grave deeper. That night, I went to the upscale restaurant where Kwesi had proposed to me. He was already waiting, looking impeccable, having ordered the most expensive wine. "See," he said, taking my hand across the table. I allowed it. My skin felt cold. "I ask for your forgiveness." I just looked at him, waiting. "I know I was very wrong," he continued, his eyes getting misty, a performance perfected for years. "Anea, she's just a toy." I was pressured. Business is hard. And you? You were busy with your mother. I felt lonely. So, it was my fault? I asked, my voice calm. No. It was my fault. He rushed to correct himself. I was blind. I didn't see the diamond I had until I saw you in that meeting room the other day. I realized how fantastic you are. We can be the best team, Zel. He leaned in. I've already left Anea. She's already out of the apartment. A lie. Anea was shopping with his credit card at that very moment. We can start over, he whispered. We will dominate Atlanta. You with your land, me with my expertise. Forget Seek. You don't need him. You only need me. I slowly withdrew my hand. Your seduction is good, Kwesi. Better than your business presentation, I said coldly. He looked surprised. Maybe you're right, I continued, as if thinking. Kwesi's hope flared again. We really have to fix this, but I can't mix personal and business. Sure. Let's finish the business matter first, I said. I've already seen the result of your audit. And? Kwesi asked anxiously. And we need to talk seriously, I said. Tomorrow, in my office, at 10 a.m. Bring your lawyer if necessary. Once that is over, then we can talk about us. I stood up, leaving Kwesi with a bottle of expensive wine and a sly smile, thinking he had just won. At 10 a.m. sharp the next day, Kwesi arrived at the mansion alone. No lawyer. He even brought another bouquet of roses. He was brimming with confidence, sure this was just a formality before our reconciliation. He walked into the meeting room. The atmosphere was far from romantic. I was already seated in the head chair. Seek stood beside me. On the long mahogany table, there were no coffee cups, but stacks of thick legal documents. Zell, babe, Kwesi greeted, trying to break the ice with the flowers. Sit down, Kwesi, I said, my voice cutting through his attempt at charm. He sat, his smile faltering. Let's get to the point, I said. Mr. Seek stepped forward, placing a binder of documents in front of Kwesi. Mr. Kwesi, Seek said, this is the list of debts of Kwesi Constructions Incorporated. To Garcia Aggregates, a total of $100,000. To Bolt Hardware, $50,000. To Iberian Machinery, $200,000. And so on. The total verified debt with 12 suppliers is $500,000. Kwesi's face went pale. What does this mean? I'm negotiating with them. They no longer need negotiation, I interrupted. Because everyone has been paid in full. He looked at me confused. Paid by whom? I pointed to myself. By me. Seek pushed a second binder of documents across the table. Through 3 investment companies affiliated with Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC, we have acquired or bought all those outstanding invoices. Copies of the deed assignment are in front of you. Kwesi opened the first sheet. His heart seemed to stop. In other words, Kwesi, I leaned in, looking directly into the eyes of the man who had destroyed me. Your company no longer owes anything to those small merchants. I paused, letting the silence fill the room. Your company now owes me. Me? Kwesi gasped, unable to breathe. I can pay. I can pay in installments. Oh, of course, I said, my voice dripping with cold indifference. But I'm not interested in doing business with you, and I'm certainly not interested in getting back with you. I want my money back. I slapped the documents in front of him. According to the assignment clause, this debt is due. Now. You have 24 hours to liquidate those $500,000 in cash. 24 hours? That's impossible. No one has that much cash. Kwesi shouted, finally panicking. I do, I replied, my voice chillingly calm. You set a trap for me. A trap. I stood up. I am only claiming what is my right. Just like you kept all my rights before. If in 24 hours you cannot pay, I placed a third binder of documents onto the stack. Our legal team will immediately register a lien on that penthouse in the Sovereign. On your office. And on all your heavy machinery. Good morning, Mr. Kwesi. 24 hours. Kwesi never knew how short 24 hours could be. After leaving my mansion, he didn't go back to the apartment. He panicked. He spent the first hour driving aimlessly, cursing me, cursing Seek, cursing the whole world. The second hour, he started making calls. He called his bank manager. I need a loan of $500,000. The collateral is my project in South Georgia. The bank manager just laughed. Kwesi, don't joke. You don't have that project secured yet. Besides, your credit limit is already tapped out to finance. Well, you know. Kwesi slammed the phone down. From hour 3 to hour 10, he called every business contact, every friend he'd wined and dined, every small official he'd tipped. The answer was always the same. Oof, tough, Kwesi. Or, sorry, I'm out of town. Or they simply didn't pick up. The news of his downfall, somehow, had started to spread like wildfire from our meeting. Hour 11. In desperation, he returned to the penthouse. Anea was trying on a new dress she'd just bought that afternoon. How does it look, babe? Nice, right? Sell it. Kwesi screamed. What? Sell it all, he roared, his eyes red. Sell your bags. Sell your jewelry. We are bankrupt. Anea's face went pale. These are gifts, not investments. Are you crazy? Zelika set a trap for me. Kwesi raved. That snake woman bought my debts. She gave us 24 hours to pay $500,000. Anea didn't care about the debt. She only heard one thing. The money had run out. At 10 a.m. sharp the next day, exactly 24 hours later, the doorbell of his penthouse rang. Kwesi, who hadn't slept all night, opened it, hoping it was me, ready to relent. It wasn't. In front of the door stood Seek, calm as a statue. Behind him, 2 well-dressed lawyers. And then, a man in an official uniform, holding a thick folder. A sheriff's deputy. Your time is up, Mr. Kwesi, Seek said flatly. Wait. I need time. Time is a luxury you didn't give Zelika, Seek interrupted. He took a step forward. According to the order from the Fulton County Superior Court, we are here to execute the lien on this asset. The deputy began putting seizure stickers on the walls of the apartment foyer. No, this is my house, Kwesi shouted. Technically, it is the collateral for your debt to my client, the lawyer corrected. You and this young lady, he looked at Anea with disdain, are required to vacate these premises in 1 hour. Take your essential personal effects. 1 hour later, the lobby of the Sovereign became a spectacle. Kwesi, the same man who 10 years ago felt like the king of the place, was escorted out by security guards, the same guards who had thrown me out. Anea followed him, crying hysterically, dragging 2 suitcases full of her designer bags. Kwesi wasn't just bankrupt on paper. He was literally on the street, back at the ground zero he created for me, on the hot sidewalk in front of the lobby. The real drama had just begun. This is all your fault, Anea shrieked, actually hitting Kwesi's chest. You said you were rich. You said you were great. Turns out you're just a scammer. Kwesi, having already lost everything, unloaded his remaining fury on the only target left. My fault. Your fault. Who asked for Birkin bags every week? Who demanded vacations in Turks? You made me spend, you parasite. Parasite. Aenea's jaw dropped. Their fight was so loud, it became a public spectacle. They didn't even notice someone across the street recording the whole thing on their phone. I didn't sign up for this, Anea shrieked, dragging her suitcases, trying to hail a cab. Where are you going? You won't survive without me, Kwesi mocked. You'll see, Anea declared, storming off to a luxury hotel, trying to book a room with the unlimited credit card Kwesi had given her. I'm sorry, ma'am, declined, the receptionist said coldly. She tried another card. Declined. All declined. Kwesi had blocked everything, or perhaps the bank had. Anea panicked. She called her high society friends. Girl, I have a problem. Click. Phone cut off. She called another. Hello, I have bad signal. Click. Phone off. She didn't know. I didn't have to do a thing. Seek, through his network, had simply leaked Kwesi's audit report to a few key people. The news that Kwesi was a scammer and Anea, the side chick linked to a bankrupt scammer, had spread like wildfire through Atlanta's elite group chats. She was toxic. No one wanted to associate with her. That night, the recording of her public meltdown with Kwesi went viral on local gossip blogs. Her beautiful face was now associated with bankruptcy and cheap drama. Her modeling career? Finished. The doors of the high-class world slammed shut. Anea, who once felt on top of the world, was left to sell her authentic bags and some fakes Kwesi had given her, she discovered, one by one, just to survive. Back to the obscurity she hated so much. 2 weeks after the seizure, I sat with Seek in the meeting room of my mansion. The mahogany table was now covered in blueprints. All assets of Kwesi Constructions Incorporated have been liquidated, Seek informed me. His office, his equipment, the penthouse. Everything is enough to cover the debt of $500,000, plus interest and legal costs. Good, I said. What will we do with the penthouse? We can sell it. I shook my head. No. Sell all the luxury furniture inside. Empty it completely. Then, give the keys to Mr. Zubari at the Heritage Bank. Tell them to give it as a bonus gift to Kofi. Seek raised an eyebrow, a slight, almost imperceptible smirk touching his lips. It was a cynical, but satisfying, touch of humor. Kofi, the bank teller? Yes, I confirmed. He deserves it. He was the first one to help me. Very well, ma'am. Seek paused. And the 2,000 acres? Will we proceed with the luxury development plan? I stood up, walking toward the large window, looking out at the sprawling garden. My father's letter echoed in my mind. Build your own kingdom. Kwesi, I said, wanted to build a palace for the rich, that people like me could only see from outside the gate. I will do the opposite. I walked back to the table and pointed at the new blueprints. I am going to build homes. I explained that Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC would use the first 250 acres to build dignified, subsidized housing, complete with a school and a small medical center. For the workers in our pecan groves, I elaborated, and for the owners of those small suppliers who were almost destroyed by Kwesi. They will have priority and special discounts. And the machinery seized from Kwesi? We'll use it to build these houses. I smiled faintly. It's poetic justice. Seek looked at me with undisguised admiration. Not only that, I added, on another 25 acres, I want to build the Okafor Center, a training facility for modern agribusiness and small business management. I want people like my father to have the chance to succeed without having to hide. I wasn't just getting revenge. I was building a legacy. I was done with Kwesi. But the law wasn't. Kwesi, now living poorly in a shared apartment on the outskirts, thought the worst had passed. He believed that after losing everything to me, he was free. One afternoon, while eating instant noodles, there was a knock on his door. Police, Mr. Kwesi. You are under arrest. What is this now? My debt to Zelika is paid. This isn't about debts, the officer said. This is about the use of substandard materials on the bridge project in Macon and tax fraud. Kwesi froze. How did they know? He didn't know that Seek, on behalf of a client concerned about public safety, had anonymously sent copies of Kwesi's double ledger and the lab results of the poor quality cement to the district attorney and the IRS. He built a bridge that could collapse, I had told Seek. It could kill people. This is no longer about him and me. It's about justice. The news of Kwesi's arrest was a local headline. Elite developer falls, alleged corruption and fraud. In my mansion, I watched the news on the large TV. I saw Kwesi's face, gaunt and angry, being escorted away. I felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. That chapter was finally, truly closed. I turned off the TV. 1 year later, Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC was no longer a dormant, mysterious company. It was one of the new economic pillars of the South. I had revolutionized my pecan groves with sustainable practices, raising wages for workers and building modern facilities. The Okafor Training Center had already opened. Its first class graduated. The first phase of subsidized housing was full. I was no longer called Madam Director with a tone of fear. The old workers called me Miss Zelika, or Aday's daughter, with respect and genuine affection. I stood on a hill on my farm, looking at the green expanse under the afternoon sun. I was no longer the disheveled woman in the sovereign lobby, nor the cold woman in the meeting room. I was simply Zelika. Complete. Footsteps sounded behind me. Zelika, Seek said, his voice soft. He wasn't wearing a formal suit, just a casual linen shirt. He spent more time here in the country than in Atlanta now. The view is beautiful. Yes, I said, a sincere smile gracing my lips. My father called this an anchor. Turns out, this anchor can be used to build many things. You have built your kingdom, Zelika, Seek said. I corrected him. We built it. Seek smiled. My team in Atlanta keeps asking when I'm coming back. Seems I need to give them an answer. And what is your answer? I asked, looking at him. Seek didn't answer with words. He took a step forward, looked at me, and then held out his hand. I am no longer needed as a consultant. The cleaner, they called me. No, I replied, accepting his hand. The grip was firm. Now I need you as a partner. We stood there, watching the sunset over our kingdom. A kingdom that wasn't built on greed or lies, but on the rubble of betrayal, raised again with the foundations of justice and a powerful, lasting legacy. Honestly, looking back, I still wonder how I kept it together. What would you have done in my shoes? How would you have reacted when everything you knew was ripped away? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts.